Hey everybody, this is Rydo and we're back to Darkest Dungeon. Let's continue. So, yeah, we took out a boss, and really what we're doing, I think at this point, is we're just trying to take out bosses. We have learned that you get the blueprints only when you defeat a boss, and arguably you only get them sometimes when you defeat a boss, not always, because we've defeated far more than 2 bosses and we only have 2 blueprints. Which means probably you can take on these bosses multiple times. So, of your options here, the short apprentice would maybe make sense for some of these level 2 characters. These level 1 characters probably not even worth it. Even the level 2 characters are increasingly becoming less worth it. If we needed to grind. Otherwise, we take on the Necromancer, which I think might be a smart move. Necromancer would respawn. Sunken Crew would be another option. Do any of these events trigger a weekly event? Activate 3 infected corpses. Yeah, let's do that. Let's push our luck a little bit and take like a Hellion character and a Jester character. Is that our lowest Jester character? No, so we'll take that one instead, because we may just get rid of that Jester character. And then we'll take this one. Is that in the right position? Yeah. And so, yeah, arguably what I should probably do is just run with these characters. Do that, and then instead of sticking with the Hellion, switching over to the Grave Robber, and then just level up that whole team. Yeah, let's try that. That's our B team, or really, that's more our C team, as it were. And I guess we could take this Musketeer character instead of that character, but I don't see a reason why I'd want to do that. And we're just going to do this because we want the Sunshine in the Thicket event to see what that is. It's interesting you start with all of this, and yet we start with no food and no torches. This is a medium run, so that does seem like that's the minimum you would want. And then, yeah, almost certainly want another shovel and another block. Let's go. Now, the problem, I'd say, with going back to the Weald is we just have not been to the Weald in a while, so I don't really remember what's special about the Weald other than the most obvious thing, which is that you hear howling a lot. And even that doesn't really mean anything, because the howling does not then interact in any way, and it's not like we're running into a lot of wolves. You would kind of expect it to be more of a case that this was a environment full of wolves, and that almost everybody you fought was a wolf, but there's actually considerably more.
As the fiend falls, a faint hope blossoms.
Like considerably more highwaymen than wolves that show up. They're just human characters. Storyline wise, it would make a lot of sense to have characters that are
Continue the onslaught. Destroy them all.
It would make a lot more sense that you'd start off with humans, and then the humans in a second act twist, or the beginning of a second act twist, started to get mutated into monsters, or monsters started showing up separately. At the very least, in a game like this, it would make some sense to possibly have
maintain the offensive.
A tutorial where you're just fighting highwaymen and
Success
humans,
so
and
clearly in view.
maybe that is what happens
Or is
in the
it merely
tutorial,
a trick of the
but that
light?
was so long ago I can't even remember. Okay. So the risk here is high. High enough that we've got to go to this room, and we probably need to just go to this room and this room. And then we'll just have to probably work our way back. Unless we get a map or something that tells us exactly where the thing is. Okay. So on this... Erected to service, in service to a mysterious god. I think what you'd want to do is holy water, because clearly whatever the mysterious god is, it's probably not the god that the humans worship. They seem to be on. Was I supposed to activate an infected corpse through that? It wouldn't have let me break it if that was the case. Curio secret room. Obstacle. Yep. In room battle. So that item didn't do anything. So I think it would have been the shovel that would have stopped that from being trapped. This is a quest thing. And that was an infected corpse. Interesting, because that wasn't marked so much as an item. I don't think that was marked as a quest item, which does open up a realm of possibility here that
Nature herself, a victim to the spreading corruption.
that this whole
with misintent.
infected corpses could be anywhere. We've never seen a wolf leader character, and we've never seen a pack of wolves as far as enemies.
Well struck.
Attack with that.
To the pit.
Hope the blood kills that one. If not, probably would be better just to kill that one. Now, potentially we'll kill those two, but even if it doesn't,
Slowly, gently.
it kind of doesn't matter.
This is how a life is taken.
Now this quest is a little bit different, I would say, because of the items to clarify. Alright, so if I was gonna do this, I would need anti-venom. Do I have anti-venom? No. So interacting with it. If I was gonna do this, I would need a shovel. Do I have a shovel? Yes. Now who has the highest trap? 120, 100, 80, 80.
The light, the promise of safety.
The problem with this, though, is this curio. So we'll have to run to this room, and then the room with treasure we probably skip for our own safety, but we do go forward. We walk forward to this way. We find out that this is a curio.
A fortune
We take that,
waiting to be spent.
and we walk back until we can go through the door. Back this way. I really don't understand the whole concept here of walking backwards being a bigger danger. Like, why couldn't you turn around and just walk forwards towards the other direction? Either way, the team is always looking in one direction, so it's hardly a case where they are being particularly cautious around being snuck up
As the
from
light gains
behind.
purchase, spirits are lifted, and purpose is made clear.
Let's see. Walk to the secret room. See if we can zoom in a little bit more. Okay. Click on that. Use a key on that. And then this is massive gold, so at that level, just have our characters eat food, and then we'll sell one of those. We'll use a torch.
The way is lit, the path is clear.
And we'll sell
We
that.
require only the strength to follow it.
Move on to the next room. Do we have a shovel? No. This is a gravedigger character, so you'd think that if any character would benefit from grave digging, it would be the gravedigger, and doesn't seem to be the case. Do we have any medicine left? Nope. This one does seem to have a pretty high disease resistance, however. Seems like we're gonna have to go all the way to the end, however, to get the last two infected corpses.
Power. Press this advantage. Give them no quarter.
Which that's probably fine. I don't expect I'm gonna
A powerful blow.
die. We have basically no stress at all, no damage at all, and we're halfway through. Plus we can rest if necessary, but it may be quicker and easier to simply sell the firewood instead of trying to rest and get a buff and then potentially get ambushed also in the middle of the night. Let's see. Just move that one out of the way. And yeah, once you hit these second turns, I almost wish that there were, yeah, it would be interesting to see if there was a game like this, but it only went one turn. You only have one turn, and then a coin is flipped based on a percentage of just how much damage has been done. That would create an interesting solution to the Pokemon problem of characters having to be killed or pass out. If everything was just like a decision being made by judges or by random chance, like a boxing match is often decided, although in all fairness, boxing matches are still often decided by knockouts, and decisions, and judges don't get involved until usually multiple rounds have already happened in a boxing match. But yeah, specifically for this game, if I did this move and then this move,
another one falls,
and then did the two remaining moves, and then whoever would have been surviving on this time did their moves, and then it just said win or loss, that would be fine by me. Perhaps that creates a situation where if you lose you can't pass, or if you lose you take like a single hit of damage, and it could be a scenario where there's just like nothing this guy can do in this position. Best case scenario is just see if anybody has any stress. Nobody does.
Executed with impunity.
It could be like a 3 strikes you're out if you lose after that first round, or it could be everybody has 10 health and you lose 1 health every time you lose a fight, but you still get to move forward to the right even if you do lose. It might be like 5. The numbers certainly would be nebulous, but if you look at the potential number of fights that were in this dungeon, there's probably about 6 or 7 of them. So if 3 strikes and you're out was the policy every time you lost, that could speed up the process. And that line of thinking only makes sense because of the fact that your first round is the most important by far in this, because just killing even one character or getting one character halfway to being killed is more than enough to cause the balance of the number of actions you can take versus the number of actions your opponent can take to shift.
Death, unforeseen, unforgiving.
Although, in all fairness, this whole process, if you change nothing other than making the animations faster, this would be a much faster experience. Like, notice this attack. I'm gonna click. I'm gonna say when I click, and just count. We'll count the seconds until I can do another action. Go. 1 Mississippi, 2 Mississippi, 3 Mississippi, 4 Mississippi, 5 Mississippi, 6 Mississippi, 7 Mississippi, 8 Mississippi, 9 Mississippi, 10 Mississippi. Yeah, I stopped counting there for a second. But basically, 6 seconds for your attack, 6 seconds for the opponent's attack.
The ground quakes.
It's no wonder this game feels slow at that. These should be like 1 or 2 seconds things. There should be an option, and maybe there is an option somewhere that I just haven't toggled, to speed up the movement and attack speed. Why can this guy not do anything? I guess he was just in the wrong position. And I definitely, after this run, should go and look in the menu and see if there is some option to speed up the attack actions, because this is ridiculously long.
Remind yourself that overconfidence is a slow and insidious killer.
250 versus 375 versus 500. Yeah. I don't think you take this. Okay. Still looking for infected corpses. Which, this obstacle and then quest location. We've got nothing we can do there.
Tools of iron, you must rely on flesh and indefatigable purpose.
Picked up a disease, although it doesn't really feel like diseases are that important. We're almost out of torches. Right. So ideally, you have scouting, but we don't. So left or right, take your pick. We're almost certainly not going to get stressed. We're almost certainly not going to die of a of damage.
Strike.
Very rarely do your characters really die. The game is obviously designed around you having just a couple of early deaths, enough that you learn that it's way better to run away than allow your characters to die. That being said, there is very possibly a scenario where some players would totally screw that up and die multiple times, but I bet those kinds of players wouldn't have stuck around for the majority of the time that we've spent on this game. That being said, the 2 hours no question asked refund policy of Steam would be stressed in the case of a game like this, because 2 hours into this game you really wouldn't have seen much of anything. But that really isn't more on the fault of the creator, and that probably did cause the creator of this game to have a few more refunds than they normally would have had, because they probably didn't put their best foot forward as much as they could have in the first couple hours. There really should be something like an abilities where you start with a team of level 6 characters, and then you work your way through the darkest dungeon and die. That, as much as it would kind of suck to have a tutorial where you go against the like Cthulhu-like god character that would guarantee a loss in the first run, that's probably the better way to do it.
Good fortune and
Although,
hard
I guess
work
ideally, if you
may
started
yet
with
arrest this plague.
a maximum level team, went through the darkest dungeon, and could actually succeed if you got lucky or played particularly well, but then the team broke up and left anyways, and then you have to start over from scratch, that would be fine. Inherently, I guess the problem is being able to defeat an enemy is fine, even if you're supposed to lose to him. And then there needs to be like a cutscene that says, oh, well, all these people got hit in the head and they lost all of their experience. Or even if they were injured and couldn't be used for, say, a year, 52 weeks. We haven't played this game for 52 weeks yet. So that kind of would work fairly well also.
Pallid blight filters its way through the rotting boughs.
So
Let us press on.
33% resolve XP in the Weald, 15% damage in the Weald on the next quest. So by doing that quest, we've opened up the door to do a Weald boss fight, I think. And we've got some gold, and we've got some characters to think about. Let's sort these by level. Right. The problem I think that you mostly run into here is that you have these equipped characters and you can't unequip them. They really should just by default unequip. Right. So leveling up everything that we use to start with, and then we could level up some more for a level 4 team, which is probably who we should go with instead of taking all these guys. Let's think about what our other options are. Increase the number of available heroes. Could we do this? Like, we could trade for one of these. Could we trade for 6 of these? And then use just the last of our crystals. One of those for 3 crystals. Yes. And then, yeah, the last of our crystals to be able to upgrade that. Why do we want to increase that so badly? Simply because it increases our odds of getting a potential level 3 character. Our next step is to try to get everything up to level 4. And somewhere I think we will meet in the middle, in which we will upgrade armor smithing, weapon smithing to the max level, and either have all of these characters at their max level items by upgrading it, or we'll start seeing level 4, level 5 characters that have everything maxed to level 4. Noticeably, it stops at level 4, so as far as equipment is concerned, there is really no difference between a level 6 that has level 4 skills and level 4 armor and weapons, and a level 4 with everything being at level 4. Still not really sure why this guy's stress is so high. This guy doesn't have ANSI, does he? Hmm. 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 And I probably don't have enough money to be spending on that to get rid of another trait. I probably don't have anything else I need to spend. Like, I don't have any currency anyway, so. Did we get any new items? Maybe. Are we getting duplicate items? Not so much. Here's one thing that's a duplicate, and more than likely we have 2 or 3 of those sitting around. And we can sell that too. We are getting to a point where having any of the standard level items doesn't make sense. Yeah. And so I guess there's really nothing else to do. We're going to the Weald, we're taking on a boss fight, because 15% damage and 15% resolve XP is the right move. The only real question here is, can we take on level 3 with a bunch of level 4s? Probably, almost certainly. This guy wants to be in the front 3. This guy wants to be in the front 3. And so maybe we take our back 6 as just a backup character, or we take a 3 with stress. No, I think this is good. Take our musketeer and attack from there. This guy can attack from his position. This guy can attack from his position. This guy can attack from his position. We are good. This is a medium size run. It's provision. Are we learning anything as far as food? No, not really. I think if you're gonna have to have 2 stacks, which you're almost certainly going to, that's the right move. As far as torches, again, if you're gonna have to have 2 stacks, 2 full stacks makes a lot of sense. And I think what we saw was a lot of carcasses, more than I would have thought, in the Weald. So I can see that being a thing. Take another one of those. Take just a full stack of medicine. That's probably way too much. Just take 3 instead. And we'll take... No way, we're gonna need 3 bandages. Do we get 150 if we sell this back? No. Anti-venom. Anti-venom would make more sense than even that. Okay. I think I'm happy with that move.
Her knowledge of horticulturalism and its role in various arcane practices impressed me greatly. My licentious impulse gave way to a genuine professional respect, and together we began to plant, harvest, and brew. There is method in the wild corruption here. It bears a form both wretched and malevolent.
Once again, this is a bad random draw as far as the event rooms. One hopes that the hag is somewhere in this direction. Forward we go, take the torch. Can't do anything else. Look for traps on the ground. Walking non-stop possibly decreases your chances of
Nature herself,
a trap.
a victim to the spreading corruption, malformed with misintent.
We almost have a full pack of wolves here. And then we have a new character, Tenacious Crone, which I've never seen that character before. It's just way too late into this gameplay. We are probably 50-60 hours into this game, it feels like. Maybe that's inaccurate by far. We may very well be closer to 40 hours. Or even 30 hours, come to think of it. But
Annihilated.
you would have expected that you would have gotten a glimpse of this character somewhere, or a hint that it might exist.
Decimated.
These guys are strong, so we're getting one-hit kills. Damage block tokens are also known as Aegis tokens, absorb 100% of the physical damage from the next attack that the striker strikes the hit. Did I use something by doing that? So, like, that's the first time I've even been able to do that. This is dumb. I'm just moving the characters around until he attacks. Our speed is so high, I guess. That's created the problem with this. And this is a human-looking character, so you would have expected to see it earlier. Although it is kind of refreshing to bring in new human characters.
As victories mount, so too will resistance. Finding the stuff is only the first test. Now it must be carried home.
Secret door. We want to go this way to the secret door. Alright. Item has no effect. Anti-venom marked.
Reward for a task well performed.
Alright, so immediately we sell this. Immediately we'll buff this. Immediately we sell this. And take that. Who has the highest trap disarm? 100, 100, 100. One assumes 100% disarm means 100% disarm, but you know what they say when you assume. And so to get into this area, you just click at the top as you normally would.
Wealth beyond measure, awarded to the brave and the foolhardy alike.
Here we have another head. Okay. So Neatly sell the gold. None of that stacks, does it?
The match is struck. A blazing star is born.
Still don't have anything. Okay. Room with the curio we don't care about. This is a boss fight. So, forward. Back to the previous room. And the ideal situation would be that we scout in the next room, and that leads us. Anti-venom doesn't do anything. Medicine may have done something there. So it is half medicine and half anti-venom, it seems like, in the Weald. We ate a bunch of food, which used up all of our food. We should keep an eye out to see if it is really more of a case that I am wasting 4 bits of food. On average. Here we have yet another character that's new. So yeah, it definitely feels like what's going to happen is as you level up and defeat the bosses, that's going to introduce new characters to completely change the way the world is built as far as the runs go. Which very possibly means that a level 1 character trying to do a run may not be capable of actually succeeding.
The bigger the beast,
that guy had
glory.
A lot of attack. Or he had a lot of health. That's what I meant to say. Yeah, I'm potentially just rambling more and more. Might as well take a free heal. Although, is a free heal worth 10 stress? No.
Their formation is broken. Maintain the offensive. The way is lit. The path is clear. We require only the strength to follow it.
I do want to rest. So the question is, do we sell these? I guess we do. Alright, scouting, boss battle. Room with the treasure, room with this, room with that. Okay. So the boss battle is the other way. Let's get out of here then. I guess the general thing is you'd want to be on this guy since he has your most trap disarm ability. And we just want to rush. We hope we don't run into another hunger situation, otherwise the resting and the camping will go badly.
The light,
which may be
the promise of safety.
That is an argument to just camp while we can. I don't know if these characters are even getting like one actual unit of stress when they get the pop-up of stress. I'd assume they probably are, but I wouldn't be 100% confident in it. Like, this guy has stress of 4. Let's see
In
if
radiance,
it goes any
may
higher.
we find victory.
I guess in part there is a question around how much light actually matters in the first place. He's now down to 0 stress. I might be overemphasizing the use of torches when it may be a case where... Let's see. So it does sometimes work. Interesting. Well, this puts us in... I'm just going to sell that and take that. Leave the rest. So yeah, it does seem like anti-venom is a right move. And medicine is a right move. And shovels are sometimes a right move. So when you run into a chest where you've ever seen it work in the past, you should try it again. An attack there lowered the light, which we can just bring the light back up. So that's not really a big deal.
Obliterated.
One down.
Confidence surges as the enemy crumbles. As the fiend falls, a faint hope blossoms.
Forward we go. I think I'd really prefer for these boss fights to just be a boss fight like the Shrieker. Although, I guess
Press this advantage. Give them no quarter.
the Shrieker does do that.
Continue the onslaught. Destroy them all.
Probably will take 2 turns to kill this guy, but he may also be able to summon something else. But I don't know if you really can summon something else if there's corpses in the way.
The ground quakes. Prodigious size alone does not dissuade the sharpened blade.
Does anybody have any use for the antivenom? Nope.
Hacks laden with loot are often low on supplies.
Next. It would be fairly insane if it turned out that this somehow isn't how to get to the boss fight. Do I have anything that would say it's a smart idea to dig up a grave? No. Okay. This has to be the boss fight. Which means now is the time to...
Gathered close in tenuous firelight.
Now this is the time to rest, even though I had no food. Okay. Armor piercing as a buff. Speed as a buff. Does anybody have any healing? We could reduce stress, but honestly it doesn't matter. Plan to take down for 4 is probably fine. That leaves us with nothing else. And see, I have another shield bringer, so
the light gains purchase,
it's taking the snakes on again.
Purpose is made clear. Sand and serpent choke out hope of wholesome reverie.
Why can none of these guys attack? Because they're all in stealth. And so we have all these buffs and speeds.
How quickly the tide turns.
These guys might hit hard. Can you retreat from combat in a dream? Well, somebody's stealth needs to break, otherwise this is incredibly unfair. Finally. Finally we have somebody we can kill. Or try to kill at least.
Such a terrible assault cannot be left unanswered.
This fight is not particularly hard if you can actually do damage, but noticeably it would be very hard if it defeated you in that first move. Or that first turn. Two down. 2 to go. 3 down.
Perched at the very precipice of oblivion.
This is not what we need. Is there anything we could do to reduce stress on this character?
Patched up, if only to bleed again.
So did we win in that fight, or did we lose in that fight? That's my question, certainly. I don't think we won there.
Breadth from becoming unwound.
I think we may have just woken up. We don't have any bandages. I say we flee. The health is too low on these characters. I say we take to safety and we flee for our lives.
Adversity has a beauty. It is the fire that tempers.
We would have succeeded had we gone the other way, or had we not had a shield breaker with us. And you can really hardly call it a major loss anyways. It still got us a lot of gold and a lot of upgrade materials, and we still need a lot of that. Making the best of a bad situation Or in this case, really just making the best of a mediocre situation. Clumsy. Okay.
They arrive with the east wind.
The adders
Torrent of whirling doom.
kiss, graceful and deadly these elegant executioner addition are welcome additions to the army's standing. Okay. So we have a level 0 character and a level 0 character. So we could drag them here, but we don't have room otherwise. Right. Level 3 antiquarian versus what level antiquarian do we have? Level 3 antiquarian. So lots of effects. Everything is level 3. It's not a terrible character to potentially have. You know, it's probably better to straight up dismiss this character with all the stress. Because we have a level 4
must move on.
shield breaker anyways. And then take that.
She searches where others will not go. And sees what others will not see.
Just dismiss a level 0 character also. We don't have enough resources to upgrade that, which probably means we don't have enough resources to upgrade anything. And this is going to be just a regular run, so a boss fight isn't a terrible thought to take level 5, level 6, level 6. And we don't want to just upgrade every item and every action for no reason. We probably wouldn't take 2 of the same characters though, so we need to find something that's a level 4 that has a little bit of small amount of stress. I don't think we have somebody that's a level 4 though that has a small amount of stress. It would be this guy, if anything. Or we bring in level 3. Yeah, let's think about bringing in a level 3. Level 3 antiquarian. Means nothing has to be upgraded there. And nothing has to be upgraded there, so he's a much better character to focus on. Alright. And now it is just like this character obviously needs a lot of stress reduced. That character won't do anything. These other characters I think are kind of fine. Let's see. Spent some money there. And then if we're taking our A team, maybe we get rid of a disease here and a disease here. And then we think about, is his attack a ranged attack? Not really, it's a melee attack, of course it is. +2 speed being locked in is too expensive. Yeah, these prices need to go down. Did we get any new item of real importance? Doesn't seem like it. Okay. And at some point, maybe I should just pull the trigger. 3 animalistic shrines would give us fresh air in the tunnels. As an event. And this would give us silence in the crypts. Which maybe that as an event would let us bring back a dead character. Well, the other options are to kill the hag or kill the sunken crew. I guess our guys aren't really... They're still kind of highly stressed, a couple of these, so let's try this one instead. We'll build a team around 2 level 3s and then another level 3, and that level 3 won't work. Maybe we bring up the level 1 instead, or we take this guy, level 4. Okay. A veteran level 3 special quest for silence in the crypts, because that's what we want to do. At least it gives us some variety. Three really does seem like the right amount. And then 2 potentially of everything else. And let's not forget to get torches. Maladies and diseases does kind of make more of an argument to have a whole stack of this. We do have some more Aegis scales. I don't know if I'm actually using them, though. I don't think I am. That is really over-prepared in this case. Particularly for a run that's not even going to require us to go to every room and defeat every character.
Consecrated? Can the fallen find rest?
So yeah, move to this room first. That way we'll know quickly. Right. Cabinet is locked, so we could either use a shovel or a key. Let's use a shovel. And immediately.
In Radiance, may we find victory.
We are selling things to make room for other things. That attack broke the stealth, which is nice. These guys seem to have more dodge than I would expect. Inevitably, it will happen that I will take a team of level 3 characters thinking they are level 6 characters into a level 5 or 6 challenge and just have them all wiped out. It's only a matter of time. Of course, I may not stick with this game long enough to actually see that happen. Like, I just really want to beat the bosses and see the written content versus the randomly generated content that's left for this game. And then take on the Darkest Dungeon just to see what the deal is with the Darkest Dungeon. I could be just really over preparing for it, and it could actually be a cakewalk. Or it could be that the first assault on the Darkest Dungeon is as difficult as the last assault on the Darkest Dungeon, and it doesn't get any more difficult. It might even get easier. Because we definitely are hitting a cap as far as... I'm not seeing super rare or way better items. So there seems to be a maximum on items. There's obviously a maximum on weapons and attack systems.
Confidence surges as the enemy crumbles.
This is taking longer than this should have, and this guy's health is lower than it should be. I'm a little concerned here.
The ground quakes.
I may have made a bad team.
As the fiend falls, a faint hope blossoms.
Or it may just be that these characters have
gently.
A bunch of damage.
Life is taken.
Alright, well. Yeah, it does kind of seem like you just burn through food so quickly. And we'll just holy water. Move these guys around. And the holy water.
The way is lit. The path is clear. We require only the strength to follow it.
Everybody's full on food. Why can I hold more gold now? Does the antiquarian give you the ability to hold more gold? That's weird. can you hold more gold simply because? Which is onyx. That didn't do anything. That didn't do anything. And that didn't do anything. Which I guess means it's just not trapped.
Glittering gold, trinkets and baubles, paid for in blood.
Yeah, we need to find one of these characters really quickly to open up some room, or this is not going to work well. But I'm more surprised about the ability to hold more gold in a pile. What would have caused that to happen? Alright, well. So much for venom. Anti-venom. And I hope this next fight plays a little bit quicker than the last one. There might have been a trick here. This guy's stress is also very high.
Blurred vision. The end approaches.
I should have attacked that character. Probably should have attacked that guy too. Yeah, it just might be that these guys have way more dodge than I was expecting, and that may make it a lot more difficult to actually succeed in this run.
Continue the onslaught. Destroy them all. Press this advantage. Give them no quarter.
Move this guy around.
A trifling victory, but a victory nonetheless.
None of these guys, I imagine. That one can use medicine.
As the light gains purchase, spirits are lifted, and purpose is made clear.
I kind of need more food, too. Like, if I have a food trigger, at that point I probably should just rest and use this when I have 4 food left. Of course, I went through like 8 or 12 food simply by eating it. So I wasted a lot, obviously. This one is not doing me any favors. And my hope is that the event we trigger is an event worth being triggered.
Even the cold stone seems bent on preventing passage.
Yeah, that seems like that's new. So I bet that's one of the things we need to concentrate.
Dazed, reeling, about to break.
go ahead and attack the front man here in the hopes of killing it in one turn. Unlike most games, you don't actually level up in the run, so there's oddly no saving grace if you were right about at an XP level, and then you would level up and maybe get a full health refill in the middle of a dungeon. Just none of those concepts exist in this game at all. The beginning of your run pretty much sets in stone whether or not you're going to win, with very little variety or randomization on top of it. Which inherently that means the amount of money you have at the beginning of your run drastically affects whether or not you're going to win or not, because money equals the resources, which also equals the amount of resources with a little bit of skill that you can get back. Do I have a heal character? Because it might be getting close to a point where we would think about healing. Although it's hard to make that argument to heal when these guys are such heavy hitters. And it's not like we've got a stun character or anything like that.
Eradicated.
Took 3 or 4 times to kill that guy. We finally did it.
Seize this momentum. Push on to the task's end.
You have a slightly different challenge now. Also around the idea of if you can hold 2,500 gold instead of half of that. Excuse me. I'm wearing out my voice talking so much. Now it definitely is getting down to the point where something like this one ruby balances out as being not as valuable as a pile of gold potentially, or even 5 minor art antiques maybe doesn't balance out as much. Could spend a medicinal herb here. At the very least we'll leave the gold. We'll apply that and purify an altar. That'll give us more room. The hope is that now we can find the other 2 ones through maybe scouting.
The light, the promise of safety.
Who's got the most disarm? Is 100% always 100%? I guess that's something we need to keep an eye on. I wouldn't be surprised if it is. And so if you have like 110%, it may just average out back to 100%. Or not average out, but cap out to 100%. Okay. There's our food trigger. That means next room, regardless, we need to camp in. That'll give us the opportunity to heal and hopefully buff ourselves, and to ideally
Annihilated.
Maybe not run into enough fights to run out of the next potential 4 fights before we find the remaining altars that need to be consecrated.
A death by inches.
And it does bring about an interesting question, I suppose, as far as controlled
and power.
Actions versus random actions. Which would you prefer to have happen first? If I sleep and control my actions and raise the health, that'd be great, but there might be a random action here that would there would be like a negative random effect. So probably a really small chance that maybe a character would die. Not enough to really worry about it though.
The slow death. Unforeseen. Unforgiving.
Right. A rare antique worth 12,500 is. Right.
The match is struck. A blazing star is born.
Okay, I think the way this is gonna go is you do this.
A spark
You
without
do
kindling
full.
is a goal
You take
without
these
hope.
now. Do we have somebody that would increase scouting? So, yeah, all heal, all people heal, all reduce their stress. Minus 30 stress on this guy. We could get another 15 stress. Or we could heal more. Random supply item we don't need. I think tracking is probably fine there. And then produce a random item for 1. I mean, I guess you really don't do anything otherwise with your respite, so more food, which can then be eaten, I think. Can it be eaten? Yeah, it doesn't seem like it can be eaten, so we just leave it. Whatever. Rest. So that gets us some buffs that lets us heal a little bit. Now it's just a question about a positive effect here. Would that have a positive effect? No. I don't think a shovel would have a positive effect either. So going up this way is probably our best bet. And I suspect we aren't going to see any of the places that need to be consecrated in the hallways, but it's possible that it would show up in the hallway. So definitely feels like there could be a pretty great level of success here if we got lucky, but we're probably not going to get lucky. I assume these characters don't have a increased chance of missing the more damage they take. Yeah. It would be kind of unfair for the game to have characters on either side lose their accuracy the more damage they take. If anything, their accuracy and their luck should go up the more damage they take to try and balance the equation out. Or you just leave it alone and don't do either, which is by far the smarter move. Still feels a little slow.
As victories mount, so too will resistance.
And I guess the question comes down to 1500 versus that, or 750 versus that. Take the gold. Secret key? No. Well, I can't imagine that there would be any other thing they would use in a book. He's now a stress eater. Okay, please scouting. Curio, room with room battle. Quest location, Curio. Okay. We need to go this way anyways. Any fight with spiders is probably not a challenge.
A devastating blow. Executed with impunity.
This might be a great example of why there is kind of a need for a second tier, second level of enemies.
The weapon that cuts on its own.
Because if we were just fighting spiders over and over again and winning in the first turn, that would eventually get boring. Although I feel like the balance would be nicer if we were fighting spiders more often and defeating them fairly quickly. We'll reduce some stress on this character since we don't have anything else to do.
Foolish horrors. Brought low and driven into the mud.
A minus 20% stress reliever. Could take this item and lose the shovel. I guess the question is, how valuable do I think the shovel is? And I actually think it is pretty valuable. See what happens. See. There does seem like there's a symbol that's showing up here. As far as like controller prompts, XYZ. So the controller prompts may be spoiling something. Well, that reminds me, I was gonna look to see if there was a way to speed up the battle events. But yeah, I guess the controller prompts give you a hint as to what items you should even think to try to use.
Destroyed.
Not a lot of new things you can say when you're just fighting the same team that you fought 100 times before with maybe one different character that really doesn't seem that different. Like, we've seen this boar spearman a couple of times and I've have nothing interesting to say about it. This almost certainly is an indicator of, like, hey, this game was in early access for too long and they just felt a need to update something, so they threw in another character and drew another character.
This expedition at least promises success.
Well, let's sell the bandage. Medicine didn't work. Key didn't work. It's interesting how a torch seems like that might be something. Because it's got like a little X under here. XXX. So it's not a button prompt. It's just a memory. Get rid of that and get rid of that. If these are the medium runs, I guess it's no surprise that the long runs aren't really that much longer. And I guess it's no surprise that there really isn't enough room here to make a super long run. I think if Dungeons and Dragons was a new game concept created in modern time, if everything else had stayed the same but Dungeons and Dragons as a concept hadn't existed, if somehow that was the scenario, you probably would see any kind of dungeon map making or crafting that a dungeon master might do be a lot smaller and more concise. I'm not well versed enough in dungeon mastering to know if every single dungeon master either is using a guidebook to see an actual picture of a map, or if they are just making it up as they go along in a more storytelling aspect.
Be wary. Triumphant pride precipitates a dizzying fall.
Minus 10 stress for snake oil. As stupid as that may sound, might actually be a great item. Or as simplistic as it may sound, it's not really stupid. Like, particularly in the Darkest Dungeon, because maybe stress is just the only factor in the Darkest Dungeon that matters. We're out of torches. And we're quickly running out of light. Would it be more beneficial to run back or see the new curios? I think you go this way. Like, we're losing light, so the move is to run fast, I guess. The hope here is find torches. So we can at least burn a torch. We don't have a weapon or attack. So now we've got a gargoyle character, which we've never seen before, which maybe this is an indicator as far as where the level upping might be, is that you might just be in the darkness, and the more in the darkness, the more you run into new characters. And I really am wearing out my voice at this point. This could go bad, certainly. The gargoyle might have not a lot of resistance, but also not a lot of health, it seems. Right. I'm gonna try and kill this character.
These nightmarish creatures can be felled. They can be beaten.
Weird. We may very well just need to run. Let's see. I see a Y here. We tried it, nothing happened. Leave it alone. Okay, come on, scouting. Quest location, we found it. So just make it to the next room.
Holds much worse than mere trickery and boogeymen.
So ideally there's no fight in here. Unfortunately, there is a fight in here, so now it's just survive the fight,
executed.
which is believable, but doesn't feel guaranteed. This guy's at death's door. Did this one lose his stealth? No.
This is no place for
there we lost a character. And another character is at the death's door. Was that a character that we really care about? Or was that a character we really care about? If I just lost two characters in favor of potentially bringing back even one high-level level 5 character, that may very well be worth it. If I lose 4 characters,
now the true test fast or expire.
Come on. Just survive.
Injury and despondence set the stage for heroism or cowardice.
3 characters down there.
Remind yourself that overconfidence is a slow and insidious killer.
How did I have a torch? Okay. Uncommon Jester versus Lucky Dice. Common Jester. Uncommon. Common. I want so much of this stuff. And it's just gonna be trading off. Oh, part of the problem, I guess it was the antiquarian that could only hold the gold. Because now the antiquarian is gone and it is back to 1750. But also losing so many of these characters. Just sucks. I guess you get rid of that in favor of that. Then I guess you get rid of that for in favor of that. And do we possibly trade off one portrait for another item? I think you do. Then it is just a question of getting rid of something else. Oh, this sucks so bad. Do we want a bounty hunter with 1 speed? I think you do. That is awful.
This day
that was a success at a very high cost. And I believe I was saying that, yeah, eventually I would go into a dungeon thinking I was well prepared and then end up getting the entire team killed. And while the entire team didn't get killed, a lot of the team, most of the team got killed. Those are all level 3 characters that were lost. All to trigger this weekly event.
The shuffling dead are silenced. We have claimed dominion over the ruins once
Silence
more.
in the crypts. 33% resolve XP on the next quest. 15% damage on the next quest in the ruins. Which I have to ask, which one's the ruins? Up here. Okay, and you've got this little boss. So a boss fight, potentially, which I can't even do. And doing this would again trigger silence in the crypt, so doing that a second time doesn't make any sense. So yeah, you go with the boss fight, take on the necromancer. Other options, fresh air in the tunnels, do seem like they are still available, so maybe these aren't so random as far as the weekly events options. And I imagine it's still the same old as far as I could upgrade things and want to eventually upgrade things, but it'll probably be a while. Let's see, I could take level 2 Hellion and a level
rage and unrelenting
2 Antiquarian.
make for a powerful ally.
Yeah, we need to get Instructor Mastery, Weaponsmithing, and Armor Smithing up. And I could increase the number of heroes I hold, which might be useful, but probably not as useful as it would seem. We've got a decent amount of gold. Not really a lot. I guess the good news is if you kill off all of your characters, you're just going to have one character that you would have to spend stress relief on. And her stress is not even that high. What I was wanting to have happen was that to be the event that would have triggered bringing back characters. So I could have brought back this character as a level 5 potentially. Although some of these other level 4s or level 3s probably aren't that big of a deal. I guess most of these are level 2s. This is a level 4. So you'd bring back this one, then this one. Maybe that one, but definitely this one first. And maybe that one, but any of these crosses that are just level 1s or level 2s, there's no reason you'd ever bring them back unless there was some kind of system, which it seems fairly obvious that there isn't a system to feed lower level characters into higher level characters. Reduce the positive quirk treatment cost. It's probably not
Experimental techniques
a bad
and
idea.
tonics can overcome things a sharpened sword cannot.
So that's the maximum. So +1 speed if HP is low. Where's this character? We don't know. This character has just gone missing. 5% melee skills, locking that in for 5,000, and then let's see. In town we'll never drink. It's really not one that needs to get rid of. So yeah, we can continue to work on characters' quirks, but it is going to be at 5,000 to go every time. Which probably also highlights that there's not much of a reason to focus on upgrading the Abbey or the Tavern, upgrading the Sanitarium, so disease treatment would cost a little bit less. Might have some value, but probably not that much value, since disease treatment is already pretty high, or pretty cheap. Your main focus is just getting higher level characters to start with so that you have more cannon fodder. As far as items go, you could buy some of these common items. But the only thing I really would want is something like perfect that would give a positive and no negative. And very possibly having 5 accuracy on melee skills isn't that useful for most characters. If we upgraded this to its final form, then we'd at the very least know what happens when a full building is upgraded. Yeah, and at a certain level, it's probably not a terrible idea to just try and reduce the cost. But if anything, you would reduce the cost of training.
Every creature has a weakness. The wise hero trains for what he will face.
And then that will just be a process of looking at characters and seeing if it's worth the money to train up. Let's see. All of these level 6 characters, I assume. Yeah, you would have to throw a lot of money into them to get them to the max level. I don't know if there's a real value to doing that, or if it would just be a waste of funds. And I am still very much just kind of ignoring level 1, level 0 characters, and they're just going to get dismissed. Even though we lost 3 people, we have our A team of 3 6s and a 5. We have a B team of 4 4s and then 1 3. And then there's 2 other 3s. So we are just working towards building up a C team. But I can't help but wonder, and I've said it so many times, if I'm really going to stick with the game that much. Like, let's see if we have a gameplay option that would speed up. Embark warnings, deck-based stagecoach, curio tracker UI, darkest dungeon config. What does that actually do? Monsters leave corpses, combat death penalties. Heroes get stressed and enemies call for reinforcements if you take too long to kill them. So you could turn that off, interesting. Stats, mortality debuffs you probably would want to turn off. Combat retreats can fail, turning that off. Standard enemy crits. Town events could be normal or plentiful or off. Never again is permissive. Whenever heroes have completed their darkest dungeon quest, they may re-enter that dungeon. Strict says may not enter permissive, may enter but will be stressed out. Interesting that there is no other option there. Discard all those settings. That's not really what I was looking for though. Combat pivot camera. I'm looking for something here that would speed speed up the process. And I just don't think I see anything like that. I could turn down sound effects sound by a little bit. That would probably make me a little bit happier, because the wolves and sound effects like that. Party auto start. No. Very notably, there is not an option here to speed up the 6 seconds it takes to take a turn, which is still going to paint you into that corner of there just not being a fast experience. Let's get a better accounting, I suppose, of how many bosses are still left to be beaten. If we could defeat the beguiling siren, that would be all of the cove, and otherwise we haven't defeated any of the other second tier bosses, and we haven't even tried to do the darkest dungeon, and we definitely weren't making any progress as far as the farmstead and the miller, which there's something weird about that too. And I say it every time, there's really just no accounting for how many journal entries could possibly be in the game. We have no idea. Alright, well, that's going to be it for this recording. As always, I ask you to like, share, subscribe, comment, and watch every second of my videos. If you want a friend to follow me on any social media sites, there's a whole bunch of links down below. And if you want to support me further, there's a link to Patreon, or you can friend me on Steam and gift me a game off my wishlist. Thank you for watching. Have a good evening.